Welcome everybody to another episode of the Final Split. We've got an interesting crew here. Everybody freeze framing it. Were you freeze framing? Going for the...
We were seeing... I was seeing which one was freezing first. So
okay.
We're testing delay.
I thought this was one of those, like, you got to just, like, sit still for the whole episode. Or I wasn't sure what was going on there. But
oh, what are those?
exactly. All right, beautiful. We've got quite the eclectic bunch here. Notice in the top right, we've got
all of the United States.
We've got the United States of Mega Man, the red, white, and blue there.
Not bad.
Darkman is currently not here, so he's going to be chatting from the chat, I guess, and heckling during the show instead of heckling from the box. So, Spike, though, Spike has returned. How was your week?
Hey, I returned. It's been good. I made bad decisions this week. You are all more than welcome to make fun of me, but for my childhood, me and a bunch of my male, not female friends played card games. Like Magic the Gathering, played a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
Future reference, Spike. When you say me and my friends played card games and then say Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic, you don't have to specify that it was the male ones first. We will assume that the girls didn't want to play.
Which is, I don't know. I know plenty of I have plenty of friends who are girls, like, I'm pretty sure, who are also into games. But you get to card games, it's like,
It's just the next step.
Maybe it's the investment. I don't know, because cards are an investment. But yeah, I guess we also, as kids, played the Dragon Ball Z card game. Probably tell from my name.
I didn't even know there was a Dragon Ball Z card game.
There is a Dragon Ball Z card game made by Score Entertainment. And I guess last year at some point, Panini Cards, who is the #1 distributor of sports cards in America. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
They bought up that card game because they were probably selling it for like $5. And they are redistributing it now. They remade the card game. They've actually done a really good job with it. So me and my buddy just sank like $200 a piece into cards.
Into Dragon Ball Z cards. Or,
yes.
or all the card games you were playing.
Did you get anyone cool?
Who did we get?
Did you get like a shiny Frieza or something?
I mean, you did get shiny Frieza, but Frieza's actually trash in this game. So don't. If you want to run the best character, Captain Ginyu is god tier.
Okay. Serious?
You get his. So we're not going to get into it, but
is it one of those things where if you get like all the 5 pieces of the Ginyu Force, you win immediately? Something like that.
You might as well.
Do they all have a pose, and you can set them up in order to create the full pose?
All right.
But yeah, that's been what I've been doing all week.
I think we should just keep going with this. That can be the show. That's
just card games.
Yeah, exactly. So joining us today as our guest and probably going to take over, at any point here and autopilot the show for us. We've got Flicky. First of all, thanks for staying up so late for us.
That's all right. It's only 1 a.m.
Only 1 a.m. Okay. Oh, that's nothing for you, right?
No, it's okay.
So we're not killing you like we were at Bad Breaks. Oh, we started like 2 hours late last
night.
How was it?
Extra late for him.
I couldn't figure out how it was 4 a.m. So
he went even further east when it was time for his appearance on the show. He just got on a train.
He flew 2 time zones away.
That's right. All right, let's go ahead and dive right into this, guys. I can't wait for you guys to crash the site here as we make this first announcement because it's pretty cool, I think. We have a website finally. It's been quite a while since we started doing the show here, but we finally got around to creating one of these websites.
Waited until now to open it to add to the crashing.
Good luck with that. So thefinalsplit.com. It is our website now, which is pretty cool. It's a work in progress. It's something that we're kind of learning from too. So if you've got feedback on it, feel free to share that with us. You can always send it to our inbox or something. But in case the site's already crashed, we've also got a little bit of a video here just kind of showing the site off. And yeah, I mean, it's nothing amazingly glamorous. We don't have the Hall of Final Split fame or the in-depth history of the show or anything like that. But we've got the Twitch viewer there in the chat, so you can watch alongside us there. I think the theme song is on the front page, so you can listen to the theme song. You can
Mine opened, by the way. Mine works. I just retweeted your tweets about me.
There you go.
I thought I probably should.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we got the host
We have
page.
our GIFs page.
That's our GIFs page, exactly. If anybody can find a GIF of Sinister One, apparently they don't exist. I swear.
Oh no.
Man does not want to be GIFed.
Oh, hey, there's an about.
Yeah, we got the
Oh
links,
yeah, you know
links page
everything
there.
you want about us.
Oh, dude, there's Golden.
I'm dying.
Dude, check out this guy. Has been attending GDQ since 2013.
That's
Nice.
old school,
Nice.
man.
Old school 2013.
Flicky's like, that's nothing. Spike's like, come on, are you kidding me?
I literally went before they were cool.
That's right. But
You went to you weren't at Classic Games. You went to
I wasn't
2011.
a classic. I was
Okay,
at
I was gonna say
2011.
no one.
Yeah, that doesn't even count.
Not that old school. I'm not that old school.
But
I went
Not,
when
you
you.
don't know Mike's basement.
I went when you had to lie about what you were doing.
Yeah, that's right.
What?
What are you doing here? Oh, I'm on a business trip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, where are you going? Oh, it's a charity event.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
raising money
I'm
to
running
fight.
in a marathon. That's always the way to word it.
Yeah.
I'm running in a marathon.
Yeah, I had that.
And when you're
And
my
like-
size, people look at you for a second when you say that, and they go,
Just anybody. It's like I remember telling people on Team Liquid I was going to a charity speedrunning marathon because I thought there I could do it, and he was like, "Man, speedrunning a marathon, like how fast do you actually run?"
"There's no pacing. It's just go
you
until
just,
you
you
drop."
just sprint.
As fast as you can.
We could do it in 45 minutes.
That's right. A mile every minute.
6 miles of as fast as you possibly can.
Oh man. So I guess the part of the website I want to highlight the most is that we actually have a submit clips section. So in an effort to get you guys to be more involved and submit clips, we actually just have the form right there on the website, so you can fill that out. You can even specify what segment you're aiming for. So if you know it's a glitch please segment, you can submit that. Or if you think it's just like a record worth showing or something like that, you can flood our inbox that way. So anyway, if you have feedback on that, you should send it to our inbox, thefinalsplit@gmail.com. Let us know what we should add, what we're missing there. I know you guys want I don't know, what websites have these days? That what's the newest? Twitter. Okay, well we got Twitter. That's a start.
Nice.
So
We did.
Okay, good.
it doesn't have like a gumball machine though. I don't know. Like what else would it have?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You want
you know what I
that?
mean?
You want? There's a little. One of the Source Runs websites has a little cat that eats Doritos.
Eats Doritos.
You feed it Doritos. You want
Okay.
one of those?
All right.
For
We'll
sure.
keep that in mind. That's that's for version 2 of the website. But all right.
V1. All right.
I just feel like I'm looking at Spike all the time. Like
you
I'm
might-
not ever looking at Golden.
Yeah, well,
just
I'm off
looking at
over
Spike.
here in my little corner, and you guys have your whole screen to share.
Don't look at me. I am not an example of how to
That's-
run this show. Let me
that's-
just-
I'm just having fun while looking at you.
On that note, why don't we actually talk with Flicky a little bit about Flicky? How does that sound?
That sounds like the best thing.
Isn't that what you
could
wanted to be here
possibly
for?
do.
I knew it. I was like,
I
as soon
just
as we.
wanted the interview.
That's right.
That's
Well, this is a reversal for you because you're so used to interviewing everybody else. So
Yeah, no one ever asks how Flicky feels.
yeah, I want to know. I want to know, how does Flicky feel? Let's start
Dude,
with
that's our next segment.
how does Flicky feel?
How does
We're gonna have-
Flicky-
We're gonna have
Just
people
an
send in their
instant-
questions, right? They're gonna be like, Flicky, I just bought a new car. What do you think? And then they show a picture, and Flicky's like, I feel pretty bad about that choice. Actually, it's doesn't suit you at all. It only has 3
What
wheels.
really grinds my
Yeah.
gears.
All right. I want to start with I think like the most obvious question, but give me the like origin story of how did you get going with TSSB? How did the Sunday sequence break become what it is?
Okay, so originally after AGQ 2012, I wanted to do more stuff with the American friends I had because back then AGDQ 2012 wasn't many Europeans going to the events. There were maybe 5 or 6 of us, but we thought about what to do, and I wanted to do something with Feasel and PJ in particular, and I thought we could do a podcast that lets people sort of promote themselves a bit better after AGDQ, and it's still the case with AGDQ now, but a few guys get massive acclaim
Right.
at AGDQ, and then the rest of the year there's nothing really for them There's a few online marathons or so on. So if someone doesn't get picked up at an AGDQ, there's no real good place to find out about a game casually. Oh, sorry, I'm pointing. There we go.
Higher.
there's no good place to find out about a game, just a little bit about the game or who runs it or what the scene is. And we sort of thought it was really important to be able to focus on a little group for a while and give them their time in the spotlight to advertise themselves or help them get into games. Because especially for me, it's also interesting to find out a bit about games that you would otherwise require a lot of time and effort to find out about. If you wanted to find out about Pokemon, you'd have to go watch hours of Pokemon streams as opposed to getting an hour with actual Pokemon runners who can explain it to you.
Right.
And plus, scenes get to promote themselves. I'm starting to croak.
Hang in there.
Yeah, no, I'm doing it. And they just get a chance to put themselves out there, and you can say, hey, check out these guys doing this. And it's worked really quite well. In general, it's worked well, and then in specific cases, it's worked really well. Like the Apescape scene exploded because we managed to get it on the radar of the AGDQ guys, and then they could put it on there, and then bam. Apescape exploded. Similar things happen with GTA, which obviously we take full credit for.
Yeah, of course.
It's just that I feel there's something that needs to be done. There's no real other place where someone can get the spotlight. If someone gets a cool record in a run, then someone else is going to get a record in a bigger game, and then all the attention just goes back to the bigger game again.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, I mean, the GDQs, it really does feel like, one person gets tweeted about, or, an article gets written by somebody. And if you're that person, then you're
great.
Right, exactly. Good for you. But there's a lot of people who kind of become like background noise almost. It's like, there's so many people involved. It's easy to just kind of pass over.
And even for those people who get big, it's really hard for them to try and get their friends, promote their own friends as well. That's it.
Sure.
It's more, you look at it like Adam could raid me 1,000 times, but I'm not going to get 1,000 viewers from it. It's just really hard to try and put focus on little groups and that. So we thought, get the game out there. And we thought about it because I thought about stopping when I was going to sleep at 3 a.m. and having to go to work tomorrow the next day at 8. But whenever I wanted to, I just thought, well, who else is going to... Like, it's really important to keep it going. And I don't want to dump it on the others. That would suck. And I'm really glad I didn't stop because it's a lot of fun. But it was that. It was just the need. There was nothing out there that put the focus on different groups and different games. And now we've done like 100 or so. So that's good.
I was just about to ask, what's the total up to now? Do you know the exact?
We're at 132 episodes.
132.
And it's probably about 110 of those are games. Something like that.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that counts all the specials and, like, the GDQ
GDQ,
previews.
GDQ hype preview episode at GDQ and episode after GDQ. Yeah, but we've had some really good ones, and we got some good views for a while, and then it went down a bit, but we're getting our viewers back up again. And like the last 2 episodes we've had were really good. The one with Spike last week and the Kingdom Hearts guys was amazing. It was
I heard you guys had a lot of fun. Yeah,
it was a blast. I came away like ready to pre-order Kingdom Hearts and thinking, you know what, this is your game. You're going to be the best Kingdom Hearts player.
Yeah, it's been really exciting watching TSSB grow along with just the speedrunning community itself, because it had sort of the same thing when it started off, and the episodes have been great throughout, but at the beginning there was more of kind of the standards. Like I think episode 1 you guys had Mega Man X with Caleb and Tiki, just like we did, or at least with Caleb. You had like your Donkey Kong countries, your Mario games, your Ocarina of Times. But then like as we've gone, there's been more of a scene for those other smaller speedrunning scenes. Like, I've been on for Kingdom Hearts, I've been on for Rayman. You guys did like a Castle of Illusion episode 2 weeks ago.
We found it was after 2013 AGDQ. Yeah, it must have been. But Feasel, Duckfist, PJ, and I went out for dinner. We went to a kebab place, like a proper. It was plastic plates and that, but it was good. And we discussed what we were going to do about TSSP and how to improve it. And we sort of refined the format, so then it became much easier to do almost any game we want. And now we're at the point where we can pretty much do any game we want. Doesn't matter, as long as the guests are good. And part of it is that the speedrun scene is full of so many interesting people that Doesn't matter.
You're not going to run out of content anytime soon. Yeah, you got plenty of games to choose from.
Enthusiastic people, and the co-hosts are like Feasel does more work than anybody else, and then Gilda PJ, Duckfist, and Arcano, who's behind the scenes doing lots of cool stuff. Can't go wrong unless we start fighting with one another.
And has there been any fighting? Has you guys been getting along
let's get the dirt here.
30 episodes
Anytime, of course, from time to time you get a bit annoyed, like if someone's not there for a while, or sometimes stuff gets spread and you kind of hear about someone from someone else, but no one's ever confronted anyone else about it because they wouldn't, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, I get the sense that, I mean, you guys genuinely, care about the show and you're good friends to begin with anyway, so
yeah, exactly.
The chemistry is automatically there.
I wouldn't put the show before my friendship with Feasel, PJ, Gilda, Duckfist, and Ark, so
Gotcha.
There's nothing big has ever happened. Is sometimes you get a bit annoyed, like, oh, that guy's doing a blind race instead of doing the show with us. But it's fine.
Darkman's getting food and feeding his need to survive.
I don't want to say that it's. I don't want to say that it's selfish of Darkman for not being here.
We don't care.
I just want to say
we gave him
that you should let it slide, even if he is doing the wrong thing.
I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna play this GIF instead. It's gonna be fine.
That's fine.
So now, go ahead, Golden.
No, you're up. You're up.
Sure. Now I gotta ask. Going through the history of TS, I know you've got. I feel like we've done a lot of Final Split episodes at 37. You guys have done 132 episodes.
Yeah, we're not
I'm going to ask you, I'm going to throw out mine first, and I'll let you have a second to kind of think about it. Do you have like a favorite episode, whether it was a favorite game that was featured, something that maybe turned you on to speedrunning that game, or just like the idea of watching it? I know one episode that turned me on, it looks like you've already got an answer. I'll just throw it out there. Was Twilight Princess? I thought Fino gave an unbelievable history breakdown, or I guess just a breakdown to the history of Twilight Princess speedrunning. How
I can see the headline now. Fino turned me on. Spike Vegeta 2015.
You got it.
I've got my next tweet. So did you have one that particularly sticks out to you?
So specifically ones that I enjoyed. I really liked the GTA one. Because firstly, Oasis and Adam are two of my best friends in the scene. So having them on was amazing. And it was also an episode that it was one of those games I really wanted to get done. I was like, why? It was one of those things, why isn't GTA the biggest game in speedrunning? Mm-hmm. And afterwards, it built from Oasis starting running it until the GDQ until now, where it is one of the biggest games. I love that because they were there and they had an alternative spin on it where it was... They wanted to show what could go wrong, and it was more about how stupid it is to run that game rather than how to run it well.
And we've seen clips on our show that multiple times too. It seems very easy to do something wrong.
Then the last two I really enjoyed on the sense of I really wanted to play that game, especially Kingdom Hearts. Like I could feel how much the guys wanted to play, like how much they loved Kingdom Hearts going through it. Really like that. And aside from that, one that always sticks out in my memory. There's a few. I liked the Pokemon one, but particular for some reason I always remember there was an episode where it was Fino. I believe it was Fino, Rom Scout, Peaches, and Surreal. I think, and it was a records episode. It was like episode 40, and I just remember it being really funny and being a load of fun. And we just did records. Like we didn't do anything else, just records. Everyone in it, I think I was pretty sure it was definitely Fino and Peaches, and it just clicked. The guys all talk, quite often it's quite hard for guests to speak during records, but everyone in that one, no problem, just go for it.
I know that feeling too, because you've had me on a few times and you're like, hey, Golden, you want to read this next one? And I'm like, oh, whoa, what? Like you picked me?
It's kind of hard. Aside from that, I like watching the GDQ ones and the ESA ones again for the good memories and the good stories. I really liked, I think it was 2013, post 2013, and the one at 2013 where we had stories. It was a real story time of AGDQ stuff. Yeah. And that was back when I could be involved with 90% of what the story stuff was or have heard about it. Whereas now you can get 30% at the most. But you get the story of
someone died at AGDQ.
That's right.
There's so much going on.
Didn't hear about that.
A day later, someone was like, someone propose? Did you see it? No.
No. Do you think, I mean, just the scale of the GDQs, do you think, do you miss the smaller events compared to what they've become? Or have you, learned to adapt to them? I did at first.
I'll admit, 2014, I missed it. But now I know what it's going to be. Like,
Sure.
it started in 2013, but I had a lot of fun because I hung out with all the SRL guys, and I got to meet Dram and Gary and that. And Dram was really cool to meet, so that was good. The first two were just mind blowing, and then 2014 I didn't like as much because I felt like I missed the smaller ones. But now
Sure.
after 2015, now I'm used to it. I don't mind so much. I think it's kind of greedy to want them back. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay, the 700 other people, piss off. I want to hang out with just like a few of us.
That's right. We want
But
the invite only or something.
yeah, you've got. I mean, I've got ESA as well, so I'm quite happy that I get
Right.
both ESA, which is a bit smaller, and then I have meetups too. I'm privileged enough to have a bunch of speedrunning friends who are willing to travel to me and let me travel to them all the time. So I don't miss it so much because I can quite often have like 9, 10 of us crammed into someone's house for a weekend, playing games, having fun. So I did miss it, but not so much anymore. It has its own perks of it
Sure.
being bigger. It's
All
kind
right.
of sucks not being able to talk to everyone, but I got over that.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's tough. I mean, the worst part about it now is that you can go the whole week and not bump into somebody you wanted to say hi to,
Yeah,
just because
that's
there's
Oh,
that is
yeah.
the worst part.
so
That is
many
really is the
people.
worst part.
I
And
know,
a number
like
of people. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, you know, the extreme side of that is like Worcester going around just hugging people all week. That's all he did. I don't think I saw him
Yeah.
do anything else at the event.
No.
He's just in the hallway hugging as many people as he can because he's not going to get a chance
Yeah.
to say hi to everybody. But
You get that with like it's okay with some cases because with Worcester and Trihex, I knew I'd see them before the event and in the bonus days.
mm-hmm.
But for other people, like if I didn't bump into them,
Right,
you know, that's it. They're gone.
for all I know, you
gonna
weren't
see them
there,
at all.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, and you can tweet them and you can say, "Hey, you coming into our room? We're having a get together." And then they say, "Oh, I'm already in this one." And then you're like, "Oh, I can't leave my lot to go to their lot." So, oh, now you're not going to see them.
Right.
So you do miss a lot. Even worse when you find out afterwards. Like, say a month later, you start running a game and then you meet someone running it, and they said, "Yeah, I was at AGDQ," and you're like, "Ah, shit."
yeah,
I could have met you like a month ago, but I didn't
right.
know.
It's been 2 or 3 GDQs since I bumped into you. Exactly. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, by comparison, you know, give us the lowdown of what it's like to. I guess you know, how does ESA's experience compare versus you know what the GDQs are like now?
So the difference I would feel is that GDQ is a big thing, and there's so much of GDQ community. It's all the speedrunners want to go, and a load of viewers want to go. Whereas ESA, it's like it's the ESA community. It's like got its own group of people who want to go to it,
Sure.
and the Europeans in it. So it feels a lot more like a community event than GDQ does.
Almost
And
like
maybe, yeah,
like a clan
maybe-
or something. Like you've got just like
Yeah.
you know, a group of friends. They're all
it's like a group. It's like a camp. Like
Okay.
all your friends from school. Like, did you have year camps at school where your whole school year went on camp together?
like
Or like a bunch
sure
of them
like
did?
a week, like a field trip or something. Sure.
Yeah, yeah, for like a week. It feels more like that. Like it's a whole community, a group of people who go, and it's a lot of fun. I also really like that I can help run it. So I have a different job at ESA.
Yeah.
Really,
What's it
that
like
aspect.
running ESA? I mean,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really good. The good part is all the staff who are there all want to be running it. Like when you're there, you just want to keep helping out and do it. It's not frustrating for us. Okay, it sucks a bit if you're tech and you get woken up in the middle of the night, but for all, I don't know. I've always got the vibe that by the time some of the GDQ guys got to GDQ, they've done so much work that they just want to rest. And it was definitely like that when Mike was like the only guy doing nearly anything during the event, and he was exhausted and he was just completely drained trying to talk to him. I remember one time I asked him how the chocolate I gave him was, and he said probably as a response. And this was like 5 days into AGDQ 2012. Like he was dead. But
Yeah.
for us, it's really good, and you want to be running it, and you get some space. We get to walk away for 1, 2, 3 hours and have a drink or go get food, and then come back, and usually everything's still running okay. But I really like it. I like if there's a problem, we can fix it, or I can fix it, or I can try and fix it. I like doing that. But it's really cool. It's nice to see everyone having fun, thinking, hey, part of that was because of what we did.
Just like any other marathon, the ESA is expanding every single year. And I know you guys just had your roundtable.
Yes.
Can you give us any sort of an insight into what you guys talked about the roundtable and stuff you want to see improve or change or whatever about the ESAs going forward?
So we do the roundtables every so often, just try and keep people in the loop. As for the changes in that, I mean, ultimately, I would love to have it in a different country, for no good reason other than it would be fantastic if it could move.
Now, are you saying like on a yearly basis, like it would travel, or like you want to
It would
move
be
it just to a
great, yeah.
different location?
If it could travel, that would be my dream.
I
for
agree.
it.
That'd be
If we
really
could
cool.
have it in Berlin one year and like in like say like Dubrovnik in Croatia one year, and then have it up in like Glasgow another year, that would be fantastic. I would love that. Don't know how feasible that is. I think that's what marathons I would like to see them go towards, being like traveling events. But for changes, really, I just keep it as it is. One of our philosophies is that the more we intervene and force something, the worse it's going to end up. Like,
Sure.
the more you try and put, we want this to happen, we're going to make it happen, or the more you say, no, you can't do that, the more it's going to change the vibe too much. So I don't have anything too much I'd like to see changed. We just have our ideas of what we're going towards, and we're very open with them, and we like to share them. I don't know. I'd like to have more input, any input from anybody who wants to go. And I guess the other part, just more countries we're going. We'd love to have more Americans, more Canadians, guys from South America. East Asia would be amazing. We get an Australian, maybe one Australian a year, which is amazing. But even guys just from Eastern Europe, like the countries we don't normally see. If a guy living in like Romania is willing to spend his money where they make not very much cash to come to us for a week, that's amazing. So
Yeah, I heard you guys on the round table kind of, just bragging about like, hey, we got our Canadian to sign up, we got
we got
our
a Canadians. We have Canadians. I think we have 2 or 3.
right.
That's what we'd love, because I've been to all the GDQs in America, so I know exactly what it's like, and it's really great. You get such a different view of America going to an event than you would as a tourist. And as a tourist, you get not a whole lot of interaction with Americans, and most of the people you talk to are just amazed that your accent's different. And they're like astounded. Whereas at a GDQ, you get to find out a lot more about actual human beings who live in America.
Sure.
And as you may know, it's very different from what is portrayed in the media. So I'd like that to be experienced by the people coming to Europe as well. Because where else could you go to Europe for a week and speak with someone from pretty much, what, half at least the countries in Europe in
Right.
depth about something you both enjoy? So I'd like to get North Americans over to experience that if they haven't before.
So
Lord knows Americans need to break out of their country every once in a while.
I was going to say the hardest part about that, like the follow-up question, is it seems like every year there's a bunch of people at, ESA gets announced and you hear a bunch of Americans say like, I'm going to go this year. This is my year. And yeah, we're all guilty of it, right? Raise your hands.
Yeah.
But what would you say to convince people, that this is the year, or how is it any different than going to say SGDQ? What's kind of your pitch?
I would say that here's the thing: is it's hard to only see your speedrunning friends once a year, for the Americans at least. It sucks. Like my record for seeing American speedrunners in a year is 2, where I saw Dram, Flicky, Cipher twice, because I went to America.
That's right.
Again, I went twice. They didn't come to me because Americans tend to assume that flights are going to cost $6 billion, and then
very true.
they don't even check until a week before, and then they're like, so I would just
4K,
say,
sorry, bro.
yeah, it's fine. I would just say I understand that you'd like to go to SGDQ again and see all your friends there. I understand that, but I think the experience you get for going to ESA would be something that you would be talking about for a long time to lots of people as a side from just your speedrunning friends, purely because it's in Europe. You guys have spoken to Europeans. I mean, you're talking to one right now. We're different from you guys, and everyone learns a lot from one another when they do that. When I go to America, I learn something new and interesting about Americans every time. And I think, why the hell do they do that? That doesn't make any sense. And then I explain it to an American and he says, wait, you do it differently? So it's, to me, it's an experience. Like, I love traveling. I absolutely adore traveling. And I just think for an Americans, you're getting another speedrun event. You're going to meet a ton of new people and learn a whole load of stuff you've never seen before. Plus, you get to drink soda that has sugar in it and eat food that won't kill you.
Actual sugar, yeah.
Yeah, you'll eat food that doesn't have warning labels on it. And all that sort of great stuff.
There you go.
I just think if you're going to go to one or the other, I really think you should save up for ESA and get it. Because, I mean, I'm the guy that does it the other way around. And I love getting to go to America every year. It's very fortunate. So, you know, you learn so much. You'll learn that Finland isn't part of Sweden. You get to learn Italian and Spanish are different languages.
There you go.
You get to learn.
By the way, these are perfect stereotypes
like.
of what Americans would think. I think you're on the right track there.
Seriously.
And you can't learn that over here. You have to go over there
right.
to rip yourself away.
You'll learn a lot about travel. You'll learn that actually going to Europe isn't quite as bad as you think it is. And you get to see, holy shit, I went to Sweden and rode a train across Sweden, and it's completely different. You'll look out of Sweden, you'll think, that's a lot of rocks, lakes, trees, and fields. I've never seen rocks, lakes, trees, and fields that look like that before. And you won't in America.
Sure.
So, you know, I just think you should just it'll expand your mind.
There you go.
Let's be a hippie about it.
Do it for Flicky. How about that?
Do it for the travel aspect of it. It doesn't even matter if it's ESA. If there was a different event, I'd say go to that too. But like, you'll see a whole different world you never knew existed. The same way I did when I went to America. So
very good.
Darkman Golden and I talked about it in one of our production meetings from a few weeks ago, and we were just talking about ESA randomly. And, you know, Darkman brought up a great point that he wouldn't just want to come just for ESA. It's more so you just need to, at some point in your life, everyone in whatever country you're in has to get out of your country, has to go check out the rest of the world, become cultured. And so what better opportunity than to say, all right, I'm going to set aside 2 weeks here. 1 week's going to be ESA and 1 week's going to be, I'm just going to check out the other part of the world.
Super cheap ESA ultimately is like, if you go for the mass housing, you're going to be getting a way cheaper deal than you would anywhere else with a bunch of people. You talk to them and you'll say, like when I went to Games Fest in Berlin, I was hanging out there. And I was talking with Chrism and the other guys there, and I said to Chrism, I was like, where do you live? And he says, I live in Heidelberg. And I was like, can I come to Heidelberg? And he says, yeah, sure. He said, when are you going to be there? I was like, 2 weeks from now. And he's like, great. So take straight to Heidelberg, met Chrism in Heidelberg. It was beautiful. Like, you should do that. When I first went to AGDQ, I went DC. I went then to New York, and then I went to Boston. Like, it was amazing. It was great. It's more than just ESA. It's like a real experience. Just the international travel part of it, and plus I'm biased and ESA is amazing. So
there you go. I want to ask you too. I want to go back to one of my favorite switching gears here from ESA, but one of my favorite memories that we can't. I think we can't even show it anymore on Twitch without getting taken down. I think it's the Bayonetta dance. Do you remember this?
Oh. Yeah, I remember the Bayonetta dance. How could I?
How could you forget, right?
My chubby frame before I lost weight.
This was back when the GDQs didn't have so much structure. I guess like it was a little bit looser about what you could get away with. And
it was a simpler time, and some would say a better time.
Yeah,
where you could just sit on the couch, rant for 3.5 hours about whatever you want, and it was back when it felt to me like, let's do something I've never done before. Let's do the Bayonetta dance. So we thought, why not? Give it a go. It was fantastic. I have fond memories of it, and I don't like watching the video.
I don't like watching. Yeah, that's right. That's one of those things that you do and then just don't, avoid all the futures of it. But
it was good there. It was good, and AGQ still has stuff like that, but it was like a sign. It kind of summed up that whole AGDQ experience, where like being accepted immediately. I wasn't known before GDQs at all, and I got known in the community, and I thought, why not do a dance?
There you
People
go.
thought I wouldn't too, so that helps. And plus, if you're in another country, if you're in another country, your inhibitions disappear. It's another reason.
Because worst case scenario, you're not gonna. Yeah, that's
I'm never gonna see these
I don't
people.
have to come back if I don't want to. It's yeah.
Are you going to show the video? You're not, are you?
I'm not going to show the video. I was thinking about that. I was like, I could show the video, but no, I actually think wouldn't we get taken down from Twitch now? I think you can't.
I think so.
It's questionable. Yeah.
It's questionable content.
It's funny to me that at one time was broadcast on Twitch, and now we can't. A couple of years later, we say, okay, well, guess we can't show it. So your homework, if you're in the chat, is I guess to look that up if you're that interested.
Yeah,
but
it's on YouTube. Back when the internet, back when the casual speedrun community or viewers were a bit nicer and liked me.
So your current speedrunning project, I've been seeing you tweet about it anyway. You're doing lightning returns.
I just finished it.
Really?
Yeah. So I tried it out because I wanted to run a JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, let's give it a go. Let's pick lightning returns because.
Did she really need to return? See, I've played 13. I've played through 13 too. Do I have to play through lightning returns? No. Okay, don't do it.
But some self-promotion here.
Okay.
I did record me watching the cutscene at the end.
Okay.
And talking about it and how it made me feel and what happened. And I suggest you watch that, and that will sum up the whole game for you.
Okay, because
the dumbest ending cutscene of all time.
I have been willingly, throwing myself under the bus, just trying to accept 13 and 13.2 for what they are.
Yeah.
But I've not played Lightning Returns, so.
I think they're shit, but I love them.
That's kind of how I feel too. You know what? I think it's completely fair for you to like a bad game. That's.
I never understood it until the Final Fantasy 13s. I just think they did so much wrong, but god damn it, I can't help but love them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. No, as long as you're willing to admit it's a bad game, I think you have to kind of swallow your pride a little bit. Admit, yes, it sucks. I get it, but for whatever reason.
Yeah. So I did Lightning Returns for a bit. I've always loved JRPGs for the reason that they were the game that when I was always playing them casually, I'd just be like, man, what's the bare minimum you even need to do? Because that's what it is generally.
Sure.
It's doing the bare minimum, or what's the best move? What's the best set of things you can do? And I thought, stuff it, let's try Lightning Returns. I did 2 full runs and much practice and got under 3 hours, which seems like a decent milestone. World record's 2:31 with SSD loads. And I thought, that's not far off. And I got first try on the random drop both times.
Oh,
and I thought, I don't want to spend hours optimizing when I can lose 10 minutes on this drop again.
Right.
So I could do it. I could do it again. But I thought, I tried it and it was fun. And it's a nice little notch. It's like a fling.
Yeah.
Think of it like a fling. With Lightning Returns.
Well, and it's interesting too because I've been working on Final Fantasy II for the Famicom, and it's just the routing element of it is so unique.
It's so intense,
right? Isn't it? It's
so crazy. There's so many things.
You just watch somebody else's platforming, and then you go, okay, I can do that too, and you copy paste it. And I think what's really cool about RPG runs is that you really do have that freedom to kind of go back and route it yourself and test everything out.
You can look at anything, and the other parts of it is so often I'll watch an RPG run and be like, I never use that move. That's good. At the end of Lightning Returns, Element was a spell. It's really good, and I never used it. I thought it was shit. Turns out it's actually.
Oh, by the way, yeah.
So it's like that. And it's just never-ending routing. I've been watching Disgaea runs recently. I would never do a Disgaea run, but I love to see what the routing is like. And those games are just so much stuff in it. There's so many options. And just how people route them, it's fascinating. But for me, the more interesting part is the route rather than the grinding.
Yeah,
I don't want to grind it out to improve it because it's more like it's more like fun.
I feel like I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but I always associate RPG speedruns with you're almost telling the story of the game while you're playing through it really fast.
Yeah, you can really experience the game.
It's more about it's not about I have the lowest time in the game. It's more about hey, I just want to complete a run. I want to kind of tell the story of this game and play it relatively quickly. If the luck screws me over, big deal.
And the part is the routing in JRPGs. Is some of the best routing you'll find in any game because it's so intelligent and they know so much. Yeah. Ask a good runner of a JRPG anything and they'll know it.
Yeah.
Like completely.
You have to.
It's really great.
I'd be
Because if
flipping
you
through the
don't-
pages, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't know everything when you're routing a JRPG or just an RPG in general, there's so much depth to it. Like you say, Golden, is that with a platformer, I pretty much know, okay, I go this X amount, I make this jump and that jump, and I get to the right side of the screen, usually. But then you look at an RPG, it's almost, you're never going to feel like you just watch an RPG run and just say, that's it, that's done. That is the route. There's always some sort of, I wonder if they tried using this item in this conjunction here with this combo party on this boss.
The number of times I've seen the same RPG runner go like day to day, like Monday they'll come back with a different strat that they had on Sunday, and then on Tuesday they go, oh nope, I use this move now.
It saves 5 minutes.
Right, exactly.
It's amazing. And the other side of it is, JRPG runners don't always get that much respect. It's always quite jokingly, especially from people within the scene. But the other day I was comparing running a long RPG to waiting for the courier to arrive to drop off your package. Whereas you can't actually leave and go do something else, because as soon as you do, you've got to keep mashing X. And then you got to do a menu afterwards.
Right.
So it's just it's jokingly, it's like a lot of sitting around. But there's a lot of, I didn't realize until I ran, part of running Lightning Returns was trying to expand my knowledge of what it was like to run a JRPG. You have to keep so much in mind. Did I get that drop? Did I not get that drop? Did I get that item?
Right.
Has the boss done this pattern yet? Oh shit, am I going to run out of buff in time? The last fight of Lightning Returns is just having to keep 10 balls up in the air, trying to figure out what's going on.
You're juggling all the aspects of the fight.
So it's a lot more than spending 10 hours playing a game. And that's part of why I tried it. And I chose Lightning Returns because it's a bit more execution in it. In fact, there's a surprisingly large amount of execution in it, and you can skip every cutscene completely, so it was a good length, under 3 hours. So,
I know a lot of people have brought up, and you said it yourself also on TSSB, how good Final Fantasy 13 is as a speed game. Actually, it's one of the best RPG speed games out there. Would you say Lightning Returns is in that same sort of realm? That it's very fast paced. You get to skip all the BS.
It is, but there's a lot of running around because I'm going to make this claim anyway. I feel like Lightning Returns is one of the JRPGs I've watched where you do just the bare minimum. You do so little in it. You do 0 additional side quests. Everything you do is exactly what you need to do. I think actually maybe that's a lie. I think you do one side quest that's unnecessary, which allows you to plant the Giselle greens and level your Chocobo up quicker to do that bit. So 1 additional side quest, that's how you get your stats. So you have next to no stats going into the end of the game, and it's just smart, really smart. You don't do anything, so it's it's ridiculous. You do so little and finish it, and that game destroyed me when I first played it. It was so hard. I got crushed. And then when you know the system, it's a joke. It's really a joke. So I would say it's not as good as 13 in terms of that, but it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting to do. And the last boss is something I think people should... I might set it up as a challenge thing. It's like one of those challenge bosses.
Like the GDQ, like the Sheep Man challenge way back when.
Exactly.
I love that. Yeah.
Defeat Boona Velza.
There you go.
Do it with no stats.
No stats.
Oh, wow.
Crap items. You pick up the bare minimum. There's so many... you don't even pick up one of the boss drops, because you don't need it.
You just pass. Yeah.
Just pass. Kill the boss, teleport out of here. Let's go.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, we should probably move on to our topics here, and I'm sure the chat will fill in with some questions later on here. But let's go ahead and try to speedrun some of these remaining topics.
The real talks.
That's right. Yeah, they're not lengthy topics here at all. It's pretty easy stuff. But let's go ahead and start with the SGDQ hotel, because that finally got decided upon here within the last couple of days. I think it was 2 days ago they decided. They had it narrowed down to 2 to begin with, the Ramada and the Crown Plaza. They went with the Crown Plaza. Now, this is the hotel that is in...
Second Crown Plaza.
That's right, another Crown Plaza. That's right. Yeah. This one is in downtown St. Paul. It is not the one that is right next to the Mall of America. That's the first thing I want to point out. The Ramada, if they had gone with that one, would have been right next to the mall. But this one, the Crown Plaza, there are a lot of restaurants around it. It's near the XL Energy Center, which, for those of you that are hockey fans, the Minnesota Wild play there. They won't be playing there in the summer, though, so
I was going to say, do the Wilds play that long a season?
What a pitch.
They will never play that long of a season. If they did, they're doing too well.
They're doing decently.
There's a thing about Minnesota sports, and that is that none of them last long in the playoffs. It's we're not a playoff state, but I don't know. There's probably going to be some concert going on there. We don't know what it is yet. I tried to check the schedule to see if anything was listed, but it's also near the Ordway Theater, which again, they're not going to announce what play they're doing there, but there'll be a play there.
I can imagine a trip to the theater with speedrunners.
Can you imagine that? That's the thing. I'm wondering. Like, can you convince a group of speedrunners like, yeah, we're going to go to the theater?
Spike would go. Wouldn't
Spike
you?
would.
I'm absolutely planning that.
All right, you and me are going to the theater.
I would. But we're going. I would love that. I would love it. And the third guy would be checking his phone after 10 minutes.
He's got his head down like this. And
a bunch of speedrunners go to watch Death of a Salesman.
Oh boy, that's a ride from start to finish. Could go watch.
Driest.
I hope Death of Godot is on the whole week you're there.
Wait.
Oh,
waiting for Godot. Sorry.
Waiting for Godot. Yeah. I think I know what you're saying.
I had the unfortunate experience of reading that in high school. So yeah.
People do not like it. They don't get the dark humor in it.
No, it is
because it's
bizarre.
Very, very dry.
You were in that? You were in that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've done both that and Endgame before.
Okay.
I've done both of the absurdist, like the major absurdist plays that they pitch to you in school.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would love if you went to see that because, there's that bit in it where, as you obviously do, he takes off his belt to hang himself.
Yep, and he doesn't want to do it.
His trousers fall down.
Yep.
His trousers fall down, and you'd be looking at the speedrunner guy next to you would be like, were his trousers meant to fall down?
Yeah, he'd be taking a Snapchat of it, like, oh, look at this fool.
Lost me with Godot. Waiting for Godot. When's he gonna show up? ? Send it out.
I'm still waiting. 30 minutes later. Yeah. But anyway, it's an interesting choice. I think of the two hotels, it's the nicer hotel, which I think people would have been quicker to complain about the Ramada if they had chosen that, just because as soon as they go to use the bathroom in their hotel room, they'd find out they can't get into the bathroom because the door doesn't open all the way.
That is, but I need to see a picture of this bathroom to see what you're talking about.
Rather, it doesn't open all the way than close all the way.
Yeah, the bathroom is really tiny apparently at the Ramada, so I don't know. But I don't know. It's interesting to me because we toured the conference space. So Rom Scout and Cool Maddie were here a couple weeks ago, and we went and just toured the Ramada. And the conference space, like the convention space, looked huge. And I thought, it almost reminded me of like last SGDQ had that open, huge room in Denver, where everything was just in one big section of the hotel. It was like that, but it was more of a kind of split into smaller rooms if you wanted it to be. So it didn't have to be this huge, just one big room, but they had like sectionals. But it was all in one hallway, so you could go through there. But I'm curious. I didn't get to see what the Crown convention space is like, but
the main thing, if you can walk to food, that's pretty much the main goal.
There are restaurants there. I guess the difference is, the Mall of America being right next to the Ramada. If you had been able to go there, you got 50 or 60 different choices every day. Now it's, if you want to go to the mall, I feel like people are going to make that a one-time thing now, whereas they might have gone multiple times.
Is that the giant mall that has a roller coaster in it?
That is correct. Yeah, it's got the amusement park in the middle.
Damn it!
You're still going to get to go. Yeah.
Isn't that like the biggest attraction in all of Minnesota?
Believe it or not, yeah, it is. People actually come here from out of state to go shopping, and they make a big deal out of it. And,
I'd go. I'd be excited.
No, it's huge.
That's the thing. I was, you talked, like, I'm sure there's going to be entertainment, like, we're talking about going to the theater and whatnot, and there are options. We're not secluded like we were at HGDQ from everything. But the fact that there was the mall there where it was 50 or 60 different food options and so many different entertainment options. I've said this a lot off the show. I've probably said it 17 times on the show. But just, it gives opportunities for nerds to get the hell out of the hotel.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that was a very positive thing. I heard the fact that we were that close at the Ramada and that we are not at all that close. It, like the thread said, it was like we're like a 45-minute.
If you take the light rail, it's about a 45 minute commute one way or the other.
Is that
a lot of people aren't going to go at all at that point, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
That's the part. I mean, like, Golden, you remember Dave and Buster's trip?
Yeah, absolutely. That was
How much effort that was. Imagine if that was 10-minute walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, something like that. That's, I mean, from where I've been in America, there's not many cities that you can walk around. There's a few. Obviously there are a few. Boston, you can walk around, but if you're at one end of Boston, you're not getting anywhere otherwise. But just think, it kind of sucks, I guess, that you're not near that. But as long as you can walk somewhere.
Yeah, I will say this. You know, having the light rail next to either of the hotels makes it a lot easier because you can, you know, jump on, head on over to Target Field if you want to watch a Twins baseball game. You can head
go
over to the
independently.
Mall. Right.
It's when if you don't need a car, like that's the big deal.
Right.
Especially if someone from out of country, like anytime you don't need a car, that's amazing. So
yeah. So I mean, people are still going to have those options and be able to do it. It's just going to take a little bit longer. It's gonna have to be more of a day event. You know, you're gonna have to plan in advance. Okay, this is the day we're gonna go, and you know we're gonna commit to being there for this many hours before we come back. You know, it's gonna be a 4 or 5 hour trip to the mall versus, you know, hey, we can go there for lunch one day and then come back and, you know, go to the amusement park another day. But
yeah, you'd see so much of it. That's a shame, but
yeah.
If the hotel's better,
but I think yeah, people will like having the nicer hotel.
And what is, I mean, in your guys' opinions, what is the number one reason why we went to this other hotel? Is it just the quality of the hotel itself? Is it the internet talk that a lot of people were going over? Is that why we were waiting in the first place? That was my perception of it.
Yeah, because you had also mentioned they took longer, right, to decide.
Yeah, they said it was going to be decided by this past Friday. It took until, what happened? It was like yesterday we just heard.
Yeah,
I just saw
yesterday or the day before.
Mm-hmm. So you figure, what was it that was delaying it? We weren't really hearing why it was being delayed. And the one kind of lead we had was that it had to do with the internet being an issue for some reason, that we weren't going to be able to get as good a quality internet from Ramada.
Yeah.
Which sounds to me like a deal breaker from the start, sadly.
Yeah, it depends what it was, but we probably won't find out the details. If they were going to get like 100 at Crown, but only, say, 50, 70 at Ramada, then you'd think, oh, you could have gone with that. But at the end of the day, is GDQ is down to the stream. Like, the stream's the main part.
Yep.
So if the stream's gonna suffer, like, you'd feel like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, they would host it in some trashy hotel if that's the only way they could get the best quality for the stream.
Yeah,
sure,
absolutely.
Because as fun as it is for the couple of hundred of us, or the close to 1,000 that are going to go, you know, there's 100,000 people watching at home. We need to make sure that's going to be as good as possible.
Here's the other thing. I mean, the mall is kind of the obvious, you know, big attraction, if you want to call it that. But the Crown is downtown St. Paul. There is an atmosphere there. There's a bar scene there. You know, it's going to be a place that you're going to find things to do. It's just maybe a little bit further away from the things you were planning to do in advance. So
as long as there's something you can do, and if you think about it, the fraction of people that are willing to leave, and go out and do something,
you know, that we're all going to order pizza anyway for 8 days in a row or whatever.
Like,
so,
us three are the kinds that would think, I got to get out of here. Like, let's go. Especially coming from if you're coming from out of town or out of country, you know, you think, let's make the most of this trip here. When else am I going to come here?
Yeah.
And I imagine a lot of Americans will be saying that to themselves when they go to Minneapolis, but or Minnesota. When else would I come to Minnesota?
That's right.
I think the amount of people that would desperately want to get out of here every day, and I'm one of those people, is probably not quite as high as you would think. I would say maybe there's 50 to 100 people who would want to get out daily and do something exciting.
There are a lot of people who, like, once they get to the marathon, that's what they're there for. You know, they park themselves there and take part. So,
yeah, it's maybe more honestly for the marathon veterans that we think. I've seen it's no offense to the GDQs, they're great every year, but it's like, I've seen these runs a million times. I've watched them year round to get to this point. I want to go see Minnesota, and I feel like sometimes we've gone to these cities, like, I feel like I haven't truly been to DC, and I've been there 3 times now.
Well, and here's the thing too.
I've been there 5 times, and I've seen the Washington Monument and the Abe Lincoln statue twice.
Yeah.
And
that's more than most Americans.
Been to no bars in DC.
Okay.
I've seen nothing of DC. Don't really think I've talked to many people from DC itself.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's kind of...
Well,
I've tried really hard.
I know what some of their hotels look
right.
like.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
And this is the thing, too. I mean, you mentioned, Flicky, how cool it would be if ESA was able to travel year to year. This is that idea.
This is that.
Whether or not they meant to do it, obviously it sounded like they were going to try to keep it in Denver, but as a result, we're in Minneapolis now because, whatever scheduling conflicts came up. So, if you're coming here for the first time, that is your chance to get out and
it's
see the city.
It's a new thing. Like, once you've done one marathon, every year afterwards, it comes a bit easier to leave. In the sense that to go do something else. I remember the first GDQ, people were like, let's go to the Air and Space Museum. And everyone was like, no, no. And then the second year, there was a bit more leaving to go food runs and go do stuff. And then 2013 was like, I wanted out like every day. 2014, I was like, my skin was crawling if I wasn't leaving the building twice a day.
In 2015, you're like, what's the marathon room? I've never been in there.
Yeah, I was in the marathon room for 2 runs.
All right. Let's go ahead
as a viewer. Yeah.
Let's move on here. We got another one. All right. We've got this document here that has been I guess it's been constructed for about a year now. 1,500 record runs compiled into one Google document. This is 2 guys working on this here. I believe it's Jumpy Luff and let me get the other name right here. I don't want to...
Icebound.
Icebound.
7.
With 777, so
yes.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
Have compiled a list, and I'm assuming that they've just got scripts that are just going through different, like Speedrun.com and maybe the Mega Man leaderboards, things like that, and just compiling these record runs. And I don't know, how up to date some of these runs are, but just the idea that this many at one point or another, the runs that you see on this list were or are record runs.
So I had a question when I saw this.
Yeah.
And no offense.
Sure.
But why?
It's a good point. Yeah. What's the motivation?
Why make this dog?
Well, here's the way that I'm thinking about it. I was trying to come up with a counterpoint to it or whatever, but when you're looking for a run of a game, right? What happens when it's not on SDA or it's not on Speedrun.com even?
YouTube.
Okay, so you're searching all over the place. I think where this has value or potentially is that, let's say it ends up growing to 3,000, 4,000 games. If you've got just a resource, maybe it's not the most current run, but you've got something to start from. You can get a runner's name out of the document, or you can get a video to start comparing with. I don't know. It's just interesting to me that it's all in one place. You're not having to bounce around link to link to find things.
It's weird, but yeah, I mean, like, it's one giant Google Doc, which means it's going to take ages to load. Yeah, and if it's ever popular, you're never going to load it. But it's fine. You have this giant list, but I'm reminded, okay, if it's been being made for a year, like, I get it. Because a year ago, there was no good place for any of this. Now I'm starting to be reminded of, I don't know if you've ever seen that, there's an XKCD comic where they're talking about, I believe it's the phonetic alphabet.
Okay.
And it says, this is the universal phonetic alphabet. It has problems. Let's make our own universal phonetic alphabet. Now there are 2 universal phonetic alphabets.
Sure.
And it just
they
cycles
both have
on
tons
and
of
on
problems.
and on. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's cool, but I imagine this is a lot more effort than using something like speedrun.com.
Sure.
Which I would say it's better if speedrun.com just like the support went to that instead, or like a single source or something. But I guess it's cool that someone did it. My next point is, like, how did I not know about it for a year?
I just found out about it recently too, so it's interesting.
Yeah, just read about this. It's something that there was probably some, I don't want to say not selfish, but some ideas of, we just want a place where people can go, here are world records. This is something that cannot be constructed by 2 people. It just can't. Yeah. You need a speedrun.com type setup, a leaderboards website type setup with, you got tons of people just worrying about Donkey Kong Country, tons of people just worrying about Mega Man, and maybe everyone's collective knowledge can come together, and this can be mildly.
Do you think that this document, like you mentioned it being a year old, and maybe that was a time that it was maybe more needed, but do you think that this document is almost just like a statement saying, hey, why haven't records been compiled better yet?
I would say speedrun.com is that statement.
Okay.
I would say that is.
And it
like,
is.
Hey,
Would it have been a year ago?
How come speedrun.com?
Yeah. I think speedrun.com was just kind of getting underway.
Even a year ago, it would have
so?
been a better statement than this doc.
Okay.
Like this doc is a huge list of stuff. It's like it looks like the back end of like a database that something's being fed from, which clearly isn't, because you would never use a Google Doc for it.
Interesting.
So to me, it's like, hey, check it out. Look what happens when people come up with an idea and don't realize how much data entry work it's going to be. And it is I'm glad that they did it, but I would say that speedrun.com is a much better example of someone saying, guys, look, it can be done.
Sure.
Yeah. Because,
do you think there's some way that this could interact with speedrun.com in a way that might benefit them both? Or do you think this is just...
They could go through that and add it to speedrun.com.
Good point. Yeah.
That maybe you take like just sections of this document, you go to the Mega Man page, and it just shows. Well, for a quick reference, here's the top time on every Mega Man game.
And for all we know, I guess I haven't looked into it that much, but maybe there is some sort of interaction going on with this document and speedrun.com or other leaderboards.
They mentioned something about working with speedrun.com, so hopefully we're working down the road. It's just this is something by itself. This is so ambitious and just quite frankly impossible. Everyone has their story.
It's flat out ridiculous to even attempt.
Regardless, I mean, it is quite the feat to get that. I don't think I've ever seen a bigger Google document, so impressive nonetheless. All right, let's move on. We've talked about that one enough here. We got a couple more. There's been some competition here, guys, in Mega Man once again. We've got Cool Kid and Dexter going back and forth. Did they take this competition just straight from AGDQ? Was it, was the race that close that they felt like,
it's older than that? This goes back to ESA last year, just before, where Cool Kid got the record, and then a bunch of people, Nadua got the record. And then I believe Cool Kid took it, and then Nadua took it again, and then Dexter took it just after ESA. And they had the big race at ESA, the Cool Kid one.
Right.
And they took a little break, I think, from it, and they're both just going back to it now. I think they just both happen to be going back to it, and it's Mega Man 1, and we're privileged to have so many good runners of Mega Man 1. And I have to say, I love watching Cool Kid stream where he does an attempt, stops to look at his phone for 4 minutes, then does another attempt.
He's just got a webcam going.
I always like when he gets up and leaves the room, then comes back and he's like got a spoonful of cereal in his mouth or something. He's just very, very casual about it. But no, I feel like that AGDQ race of Mega Man 1 at the very end,
the flames again.
I think it kind of it rekindled some of that. Where I just remember that the highlight moment of that race was I think Cool Kid was in the lead. And he enters the final Wily room, and Dexter's doing anything he can to catch up, and he skips the ammo, and the whole room just goes, like, did he do that on? Like, was he doing that to catch up? Was he going to do that anyway? Like, either way, like, oh man, there's, we thought this race was over, but like, there's a chance maybe, and I don't know, it was
really good.
Really close.
Mega Man 1 races are very underrated. At ESA, the Nadua messed up early on, and Cool Kid went ahead, playing really well, and then played a bit safe near the end. Everyone was just watching Nadua, Primal, and Dexter. I've never seen a race where no one's watching first place. No one cares what Cool Kid's doing. He's ahead. You're watching Nadua do every stupid, dumb, frame-perfect thing he can that will kill you if you mess it up, just to try and keep up. You're watching Dexter do anything he can, and Primal just sort of like pottering along and hoping the other two mess up. But it was the same sort of deal.
Yeah.
Everyone all the time was just like, Nadua's doing this, and Nadua's last at this point, and everyone's like, oh, go Norway. And meanwhile, Cool Kid's pottering along, and then Joker's like, oh, Cool Kid's about to do something, switch to Cool Kid's stream. Yeah, he did it. Yeah.
Just golf clap, right? Yeah.
What's Dexter doing? What, Dexter? What are you doing? So, yeah.
And then.
Yeah, it's
great. The other side of this now, so Mega Man 1, we've got the competition. That's been ongoing for forever. But more recently, we've got Chelny here going after Checkers Mega Man 4. He's only, I believe, 3 seconds away from Checkers. And now Checkers hasn't been playing, so there's not the back and forth that Mega Man 1 has. But it's been a while since...
We could say that Checkers is... we could say Checkers is washed up. and a terrible Mega Man Forerunner, and
There
then
you
he'll
go.
never be better than Chelny.
And I
then
don't think he'll
maybe
care.
he'll come back. And
Yeah.
Ooh,
No, I don't think he will. I think he's gone full-time casual. But
wow.
maybe.
Whoa, he's full-time casual? Wow, I guess that's just who Checkers is nowadays, you know? Just a big casual gamer, former glory, is all dead now.
There you go. The call out. Now you gotta deal with that.
Yeah.
Spike, what do you
Yeah,
think?
it feels like our competition has definitely beefed up. Can you always have that like post AGDQ lol or lull lol?
Lol. You just laugh out loud.
The laugh out loud, the lull,
Yeah.
where all of a sudden it feels like people are just kind of taking a break, maybe looking for their new speed games. But now we're
Yeah.
sitting here, like you said, Mega Man won all this competition. Mega Man 4 Chelny is right on Checkers' heels, and we didn't even Golden. I don't know. Before Darkman brought him up, did we know who this guy was? Or
I mean, Chelny's been around for a little while, I guess. With his 4 attempts, but he's really stepped it up recently. I feel like he's almost every day you can see him playing, and it's not just 4 either. He actually warms up by playing another Mega Man game. Like he plays all of them 1 to 6, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna warm up with 3 today, and then switch over to 4. Or I'll start with my 4 attempts, and if they don't go well, I'll just go play 5 instead.
Which feels almost counterproductive to me. Like when I first heard that, I went, anybody who's played the classic Mega Man series, I don't speedrun them, but they do have their casual little differences, physics differences. And I imagine like going from like 6 to like 4, I feel like I would do things incorrectly, but I don't know.
It's very hard to be really good at more than 2 at a time.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. You'll see the guys who do really well in the 6-man races when they do those are usually the guys who are decent at all of them, but not like amazing at all of them. But
Right. They
Mega
just have
Man,
a general sense of what's going on in each game.
Mega Man fans are lucky that they have so many good runners, and it attracts so many good runners.
Yeah.
So,
and of course,
almost every top tier runner I know of at some point has picked up a Mega Man. Go ahead, Golden.
And of course, the not listed one that's on here too, Mega Man 9, of course, who's going to be the first to get on the road to 31.
can't be done.
31.
Yeah, can't be done. No,
Can't be done. No, it can be done. Of course, it can be done. But so many people.
I thought
so many
Flicky was
people-
making his big statement right
No.
here. Just-
No, I'm not. No way. I
He's
never
like, I'm
would
doing
about a run. It's never no run's unbeatable. But so many people get on that Mega Man 9 grind and they grind it out and they work their ass off.
Yeah.
And then they look up and they're like, I still haven't cut Exo's time and he's second.
it's
Like-
true. It's very true.
There's still so much more to go. Like, how often does Exo's run get beaten by that big a margin? It's
Yeah.
Private Eye's run's really, really good, and it's I don't know. I guess maybe they could take it, but when are they actually gonna?
Yeah.
Because people have been trying to take it. I don't know if it's just because you have to pause to change items that like gets to them after a while. I think it was Duckfist saying that he only plays Buster only because he didn't like to change weapons.
Yeah.
In the pause menu, and I guess Duckfist, maybe I'm putting words in his mouth there, but it might just wear on you after a while.
Sure.
But I'd like to see it beaten.
Yeah.
But I find it very amusing
Well-
that it's like the oldest standing classic Mega Man record.
Yeah.
By like a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems for as many people as are playing it now, you'd think that somebody somewhere here is gonna.
They're gonna crack it. They're
Yeah.
gonna crack it. I think it's nice that it stood that long.
Yeah.
I like that so many people tried it, and so many people are like, mostly their viewers' fault or other people in the scene's fault for saying like, yeah, it's free, go take it,
Yeah,
and then they're like, I can't.
I feel like that's like
a
the
few weeks.
speedrunning hazing. You're
Yeah,
like
it
your
is.
friend's like, I want to learn a Mega Man game. Which one should I learn? And you're like, oh, I'll get
learn
9.
one.
It's great. That record is so old.
That
it's
record's so out of
yeah.
date.
All right, man. And then he comes back like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Dude, I have
what the hell?
I have a 35. Like,
I played for 24 hours straight, and the best I could get is a 33:01.
yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on here. We've got one more. This was the talk of the town this week. The no pun intended. How do I always accidentally do these puns?
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, there we go.
Like that.
We've got Adrian completing a 70+ hour, 100% Animal Crossing run. Now
only one 8-hour sleep
there's
break.
there's an asterisk on this. Yeah, I believe there was a nap in the middle of this.
Just 8 hours. Well, if it's a nap, 8 hours isn't a nap.
That's more of a sleep.
Let's
isn't
get that
it?
out of the way first. That's a sleep.
Yeah.
Did they count? Did the 8 hours count?
I believe the clock was running. I think it was.
Okay.
So we're looking at like 62 gameplay hours here.
Okay, so the next question then, will the second run of this be the biggest time improvement since low percent Quest 64?
I can't wait till the salty run back.
Here's the thing. I worry for the health of speedrunners who decide that they want to do this. You know, it's like there comes a point where...
I'm most worried that some poor girl ended up... There's not many girls in our community. It's sad facts.
It's true.
I'm not
it's true.
happy about it. Yet the ones that are in it feel so pressured.
Is that why?
No, obviously.
Now, if you,
that's the biggest surprise to me is that I thought girls had more sense than men.
Yeah,
I thought they were the smarter sex.
Right.
Obviously, they're
Men
not.
are from Mars,
just
women are
as
from,
dumb as we are. Why would you do this to yourself?
No, that's the thing, you know, and it says, you know, I've seen it quoted. There were actually articles written about her 70-hour run that she did it for the meme. So
for the meme,
that's right. You know, if you're going to do it for one reason,
if she did it for the meme, she should have got a 69-hour run.
Yeah, exactly.
Just be grateful that she didn't.
That's what she was going for.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like once every couple of months we get one of these runs from somebody. You know, Worcester did that Pokemon Stadium one a couple months ago. It was like 24 hours or something. Or
yeah.
And Nebiutes with Persona 4.
Age of Empires 2.
Yeah.
100% or whatever it was. We just, today, Bangera convinced us to do a Picross 3D run.
Okay.
A blind race for the first 3 difficulties. And he said it would take approximately 4 hours. The furthest anyone got was Bangera, who played for 6 hours and got about 45% way through the goal. And that game is half. So if anybody wants to break this 70-hour record,
there you go.
Play Picross 3D.
Picross 3D?
100%. And it's probably going to take you more than 70 hours. So.
Picross, that's a game like that's got to get boring after about 30 minutes. Right?
It got boring. Yeah, you're exactly right. It did.
Yeah, I feel like you can do like 1 or 2 puzzles in that game before it goes okay. Enough of that. But all right, let's.
Oh, that is my run.
You're gonna argue with that? Okay.
Dude, I love Picross. I've played it.
I want to see a stream.
This is Picross 3D.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what Picross 3D is. I'm more familiar with like Mario's Picross.
So are you solving the puzzles in 3 dimensions then? Is there like a?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just too much.
That sounds a little rougher.
All right.
I have to say, so Adrian taking the world's longest speedrun record as well by doing this.
Oh yeah, that's the longest recorded one.
Yeah. When you wake up 2 weeks from now, I'll say congratulations.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing in all this is I just don't want anybody dying as the result of trying to do some insanely long speed run. So it's not worth it, guys. You know, you can try this if you want to. I recommend you don't try it, but if you do it, more power to you. So, all right, let's take a look at the record of the week here, Spike. What are we checking out this week?
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah. So here's my plug for Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. This is actually by this runner. Actually was offered for ESA, and I think you guys should highly consider this one. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, one of my favorite games, and
it's pretty much in.
There you go.
Good, thank you.
You heard it here first.
A couple years ago, people were starting to find lots of ways to break this game open. I mean, this game's a great speedrun just from its like parkour elements that obviously are part of it. But then they started finding exploits with how you could actually use the Sands of Time, the time dagger or whatever it's called, to actually make yourself gain distance on certain jumps. So certain platforms that were a little out of reach, you could then get to them. However, I guess in recent time, I don't know how recent these have been found. They've actually found ways to both clip and zip. Pretty much anywhere they want to go. Here you see a wall. Normally you have to defeat all of these enemies to then make a cutscene where you can get through this wall. Nope. Apparently, this is very elementary. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with what exactly he's doing. It looks like by creating a certain amount of movements. Do you know what it is, Flicky?
I kind of know.
Oh, cool. Then yeah, go for it, man.
This is also in the other ones. The other of the first 3 at least, because I've been watching Cotty play Warrior Within and it has this same problem. For some reason, at the beginning of you do like a few attacks, and then you just load up as many small motions as you can.
Right.
And then by reversing it, the game gets really confused, and no one has any idea why it happens. But for whatever reason, you can either just completely fly miles away or just sort of wiggle through walls. And that's how it works. You just load up the inputs and then reverse the time, and it messes with it. No one could tell you why it does it or how it works, but that's what you do. So it's really shaky. It's also in Warrior Within, so I'm going to assume it's also in the Two Thrones. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the third one.
it's
Sure.
basically the coolest thing to happen in speedruns in a while. There's also a glitch that I'm pretty sure is in this one too, where for some reason you're meant to do it. You actually have to do it in runs, I think, where you despawn all of the prince's model except his head and the sword. So you're a head and a sword running around for a while.
You're Rayman running around. You're
Ubisoft's
You're
other. You're literally just a head. It's amazing.
That's
I
really
can't
good.
remember who found those glitches, but they're being applied to all the Prince of Persias, which means a really cool game series is now being run, and it's hilarious.
Now, I was going to say, this is Sands of Time's been in GDQs before. Was anyone other than Mike running it?
A long time ago. Mike Uyama
Mike ran it,
a long time. 2012, I want to say.
Yeah,
That
AGDQ and SGDQ 2012, he ran it. And at that point, there was already some exploits being found.
Yeah, there were little things. You can jump a bit higher here and so on.
Yeah.
And I believe it was 2 hours 20 around then. Something like that.
He had it a little lower than that. It was in the, like 145.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was originally kind of the old days of it was a little over 2 hours, but then they started finding some of those where, again, like you could find ways to abuse the rewind to somehow push the prints a little further so you could get to platforms that were a little out of reach. But again, these relatively recent discoveries, it adds a lot of dynamics to the speedrun of this game that, it already had all of its great parkour platforming going for it. So it was already a good, solid speed game. But now you've got, the dynamic boss fights, you've got zipping, you've got clipping, you've got, all these sorts of Sands of Time glitches.
A playground now.
Yeah.
You can go wherever you want, pretty much.
Yeah.
Only problem is that you still have some really boring fights where you're just hoping that they don't block, but that's not much of the game anymore, and it's really cool to watch, and it's nice. It's going to be a nice mix of broken glitchy, but with some really tight platforming too.
Right.
And, the first time you see that glitch where he zips, it's amazing.
As anyone who doesn't know the game, that room that we just showed where you zip in, normally there is this horribly boring
complex
long
puzzle
that you have to do. That the first time you did it, you were probably there for half an hour, but instead he just whoop and you are through. You are across the room, skipping.
There's
all that
nothing
crap.
fun about watching puzzles solved when you know the answer. There's a lot of fun about watching him just fly straight through the wall and land 3 stages away.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear you guys are highly considering it for ESA because I know on his stream, if you go watch his replay, he talked about, this was a big achievement, cut his 131 down to 126, and he's saying he could see something like sub 120 happening in the relatively near future. I guess there's a lot of room. A lot of this is new stuff they're finding, so they're still trying to find how to apply it everywhere. So it's super exciting time for Prince Persia.
It's one of those things. It's one of those games you really want. Like that sort of thing when that pops up is like sweet. That's what the kind of thing you want. That's a popular game series that's really cool and the run's amazing.
Right.
It's pretty straightforward. I believe it's been beaten though this time now that I look at it.
Okay.
We pulled a relatively older time.
Yeah, we got a week ago, and a guy called BL from Canada has got a 1:19:06 now.
Whoa, that's way lower.
Wow, 7.
Well, what kind of podcast are we? That's
well, just saying, it happens to us all the time. Uyama's time was 1:40:29. Thank you, Speedrun.com. You're a great website. So, but that's just the idea of it, though. Like he's going to drive it down.
Yeah.
And it's going to go down, and I can't wait to see it.
Well, there we go.
Good luck to all the runners of that game, and anyone running later Prince of Persias.
There you go. Can you give us any more leaks ESA schedule wise while we get the chat Q&A going here?
Not to say any more.
Yeah. Any more
any
things
hot
I'm
tips for
interested
us?
in?
I still think the GDQs and ESA should start doing a like once a day on Twitter, our newest lock, and they just like say
with the 50th pick in the ESA draft.
We are.
Flicky
You know, if we
selects.
did our newest lock, the guy would drop out like 2 weeks later, and everyone would be like, "Dude, I'm so hyped for that newest lock," and it'd be like, "Oh yeah,
About that."
yeah." There's some things I've been interested in. Like, I get asked a lot by my friends specifically because Banger and I both have the same group of friends generally. So we get asked a lot. Hey, what's getting in? Come on, what's the secret? I would say there was one that I looked at, and I want to look at it and find it, and then I'll tell you what it is once I remember it, because it would be bad of me to say before I remembered it. But there was one in particular. I was like, that's so in. Akami HD. Pills of Death. That's your hot tip. That's
Akami
one of the
HD.
ones that I saw that, and I was like, that's pretty much in already.
I believe at GDQs we've only seen one instance of Okami. I think it was Okami HD as well, maybe to kick off SGDQ 2013. Yeah. And that's all we got so far.
That's one. I mean, we're looking at some of the things. It's hard to say what you want beforehand, like when you don't have a full list. But there's a few things. We're looking at maybe having a long GTA, like a 100% perhaps, or something like that. That's one we're looking forward to. I'm intrigued by these Bioshock ones, partly because the runner's from Spain, and we've never had a Spanish runner before.
Okay.
That's really cool. And I think there was one other in particular that I was really happy to see, and it wasn't Powerpuff Girls.
I'm excited for that one. I don't know about you, but...
Are you?
Yeah. We've got some other questions here while you're looking through there. Iceplug wants to know how you feel. How does Flicky feel? Apparently that's our new segment, so pretty good.
How does Flicky feel?
I wish we could like put up the flashing like game show word on the screen when he said that. It's like, I feel pretty good, and then like ding, it lights up on the screen. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah. No, I feel pretty good. Things are going well. ESA is happening, and I'm in the nice bit where we're not pushed to do loads of work right away. I'm in the little gap where I actually don't really have anything to do.
Yeah.
So I get to do all the extra stuff, and then suddenly,
Yeah.
now I've got to do all the schedule and everything. So I feel pretty good. I've got a room full of cool stuff as Spike's in.
Yeah, we've seen some cool things there.
Screen.
Oh yeah, there's some amazing stuff. Your room is pretty legit.
Got a syrup spoon.
Syrup spoon.
For alcohol. You spoon the syrup on top of a cocktail. I got some stirrers. If you're stirring cocktails, you should use these.
All right.
And then a cocktail shaker here.
All right.
With measurements. Wait, I can't figure out backwards on the side, and you can bam that in.
Measure the perfect amount there. Yeah, you don't want to get too much.
Smash that and shake it. That's a shaker there in the room. Bottle opener. And lots of cool stuff, really. That's
all right.
Sort of what you need.
I'm noting
this sort of speedrun space.
I'm gonna let you keep showing things off while I ask you questions. How about that?
Okay. I can do that.
All right. I've got some more questions here. The first one I saw that went by actually goes for, I guess, all of us, but the question was about the PlayStation Marathon. That's going on this weekend. I think that's really cool that PlayStation's finally getting a chance. It tends to be disregarded a little bit. Nintendo
By
seems to get that
marathons.
Yeah. There you go. We got Duckfist here asking about, this is a good one actually. So the ESA and Ludendi drama that's been going on, does that impact ESA at all with regards to equipment or scheduling or just the general execution of the marathon, or is that behind the event?
I'm gonna be honest, it was a lot of headache more than anything else.
Yeah.
The event, you won't even notice, really, that it's changed. Because last year really wasn't run by Ludendi.
Okay.
We got help from them, but everyone who wanted to help this year from Ludendi still helped.
Okay.
There's no difference. We're not banning Ludendi people from helping. That would be ridiculous, and we wouldn't get our venue or anything like that. So mostly it's just been a headache sorting it out. No one likes to be told that you're illegally embezzling funds when there's no proof, and you have to go out and tell everybody, oh my God, and deal with all of that. So, headache, yes. I don't think you'll notice so much, honestly, especially as a viewer. I doubt you'll notice at all. But it's just nice to clear it up because a lot of people were kind of like, is it even happening anymore? Or, so not so much. You probably won't even notice. So.
Okay. Good. That's a Flicky promise right there. Minion wants to know, what do you think of every streamer having a donation button?
You can have one if you want, I guess. Yeah. I don't have a donation button mostly because I don't think anyone would send me money. But
that feels like a challenge. Like, yeah.
No, it's not a challenge at all. I think it's weird. I mean, I'm a bit of a stickler for language, as you know. So if you called it like a tip button, I wouldn't mind. Mm-hmm. You call it a donation button, it's implied that you require it for some reason. And especially new streamers, when it's like you've just started streaming, it's like, here, give me a donation button. It's like, well, why are you doing it? Anytime someone streams and you kind of feel like they're doing it for money, it's a bit, you can't help but...
Elephant in the room kind of thing.
Yeah, more power to you for having a donation button, but I would prefer it if you would maybe use that money for something community-based rather than whatever you want.
Sure.
I don't feel too comfortable with someone paying for my new PC.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I like what you said though. I'm kind of thinking about that, the donation versus like tip jar.
Tip jar. To me, a tip jar sounds a lot better because it doesn't imply anything. Right. It implies like the same way as, well, not in America, but in the rest of the world, if you enjoy the service some company or employee has provided, you can tip them money. Whereas in America, you have to. Here, it's a choice. So it's like, it's more like, hey, I'm going to do this anyway. If you want to just tip me, because I get why you would give a streamer money. Mm-hmm. It's clear. I think how many hours you watch someone stream and how much that would cost you if you paid for like a box set or something like that. I'd have no problem with people asking for money.
Buy box sets, by the way.
You would buy a stream box set.
Oh yeah. Get the full Dram collection. I'd have.
I'd get the Dram collection.
Yeah.
As long as they were like
Kaizo level 1, Kaizo level 2. That's like 18 discs right there.
Director commentary over his commentary.
There you go.
I remember at this point in my life, I was feeling really good about these Kaizo runs. I'd like.
So this joke that I'm about to make right here.
I'll sum it up with this. Hang on. I feel like you should earn your donation button.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Interesting. Let's see. I saw other questions, but now everybody's gone off on the donations. Let's see. Yeah, that's. I think you overwhelmed the chat. So
sorry.
Congrats.
It's all tip talk now.
Yeah.
Tip talk with Flicky Fields.
Is there anything else you want to bring up while we're on the show here? I mean, what's the topic for Sunday? Do we know yet for Sunday sequence break? Do we know what's?
It was going to be Kaizo, but Fiesel can't find Dram, so we either can't find Dram or we can't find Carl.
Okay.
So yeah, it's one of those two choices. It's annoying because I saw a question I wanted to answer and now I've missed it.
Something about. Oh, yeah, it's probably not Glaria's. Does Killer 7 stand a chance?
No, that wasn't it. But yeah, it kind of does. But that wasn't it. It was something a bit more interesting.
Best controller. What is the best
controller?
speed game in the last 8 months?
Best controller is this controller.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got this. We got this. Press 1 for the white Pro controller. Press 2 for Flicky because you guys like Flicky better anyway.
This one.
Yeah.
Whichever one of these are the best ones. The buttons are lovely. The triggers.
Yeah. You know, people always say that this configuration right here on the top. I don't know. You probably can't even see it on my webcam because it's so bright. But
hang on. Let me get my superior controller.
Right. Exactly.
There you go.
I know people always like to complain about the location of the joysticks. Like they don't like that. I feel like you get used to it really quickly though.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same way.
No, I mean, you get used to it, and you don't use the second stick anyway for like every Wii U game. So.
Yeah,
it works out.
There was the best new game series in the last 8 months, wasn't it? That was one.
Mm-hmm.
8 months is a weird. I feel like they're trying to bait me into giving a certain
specific
answer
game. Yeah, right.
with 8 months.
We're dating back to June of last year. Okay.
June of last year. Wow. I mean, there's a lot of cool games that have gained their fame recently. I would say the one that I think is up and coming, and I really would absolutely love to see it happen, would definitely be Ratchet and Clank.
Okay.
Ratchet and Clank there's the big PlayStation platformers that we've talked about, like the big ones, Crash, Spyro, and then you got Ape Escape, and then some others. But Jak and Daxter gets runners. Ratchet and Clank doesn't.
It really doesn't. No, you put it that way.
There's a few guys picking up. That's the one. That's up and coming, and I hope it explodes.
It does feel like, of the PlayStation series that are out there, you've got the Crash runners, you've got the Spyro runners, you've got all the major games covered. Even like Uncharted.
Yeah, even Uncharted has runners now.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my one.
Okay.
It's up and coming. If guys have picked it up, people have picked it up, and they're running it. But I'd love to see it explode.
All right.
There's a ton of glitches, and it's a cool game.
Good. There we go. Let's go ahead and wrap this up here. We've got I think appropriate for once speech topic rather than usually we BS the segment, but 1 out of 37 times we're gonna get it right. So Spike, do you want to go ahead or do you want?
Yeah, sure. And I want to invite both
you
guys to jump in as well. Yeah. So I know probably right off the bat, people are going to make fun of this segment.
A week later, when he comes back, you're going to make fun of it. But for now,
for now, let's just be in the moment. And I don't want people to be sad, but let's just remember the great moments.
Are we doing a speech about phony retirement? So
that's right.
It appears I sadly heard about this, I guess, hours after it went down. But Cipher had supposedly his farewell stream. And whether he comes back, he very well might come back at some point, but regardless, it appears he is pursuing other goals in his life. Speedrunning has always been a hobby for him, not something he tried to make into a career, and has moved on to apparently he's looking to travel the world, which is very exciting for him. That's
a good idea.
That's Flicky approved right there.
After we just talked about we need to get out of our backyards and get to seeing the rest of the world and seeing what else there is to offer. I 100% support Cipher in that. Selfishly, I'm gonna miss his streams. I guess my story of Cipher, I first met him face to face at SGDQ 2013. I knew about him from Super Mario RPG speedruns. A lot of people know his marathon he had for it, his week-long marathon. And the first thing, you kind of get used to when you meet people the first time is this kind of, okay, hey, oh yeah, you're that person. All this. Cipher, from the first moment I met him, just walked up to me, had a big smile on his face, shook my hand and said, hey, Spike Machida, it's great to meet you, man. And it's like, I was no one. I was absolutely no one at that time. And I looked up to him a lot. I remember doing practice next to him in the back rooms of the 4-H Center at SGDQ 2013, and just the way he went about, the way he carried himself. I know, right?
Sorry, I'm just remembering a Cipher story. I agree with this, by the way. He and Blake are like
the way he carries himself and always carried himself in the speedrunning community was one I thought everyone should look up to. That the amount of practice he put into it, that idea that if you're going to get into this hobby, why not do it the best way you possibly can? That a lot of people look at him and they say, oh, well, Cipher's just that much more skilled than so many other people. And that's not necessarily the case. He puts in a ton of work into his speed games. He takes it very seriously. And even down to once he got on camera, you go look at any of his GDQ runs he ever did, and he always carried himself so well that it was, oh, okay, I missed this, but I'm going to go for everything. And if I miss it, I'm going to explain it. He always had a very positive attitude. I thought if you want to look at the number one way, a lot of people bring up like maybe some of us who do really good commentary, myself, other people. No, screw me. Don't look at people like us. Go look at
myself, other people. And you say that looking at Golden and I, two of the greatest commentators of all time.
Yeah, the people on the show, exactly. There's a million things I could say about Cipher. I'm happy for him that he's moving on, that he's going to get to do a lot of other cool things with his life, go explore the world. I'm always going to remember all of his epic, amazing, whatever word you want to use, his Rockman 2 streams. Being introduced to games like Bucky O'Hare and Gimmick, two games I had never heard of and are two of my favorite speed games to watch these days. Not just watch Cipher do it, but people in general.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess the last thing I'll throw out there is just what a great chat to be a part of. It was the #1 chat it was the Speedrunners chat. You felt like you really got to mess with the community. Every time you saw him stream, you could tell the community just all wanted to go there to converse. Always very respectable chat. Just really cool. So I'm gonna miss Cipher, and hopefully this isn't an actual retirement goodbye.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hopefully a week from now we're laughing about this. But
all of that's
Flicky,
really true. He did that retirement before for similar reasons, and I remember talking to him when he stopped because he was saying like there's so much more stuff you can do other way running. And there's something I've always believed is speedrunners, if they did anything, they'd be damn good at it. Like, it doesn't matter what it was. Like, you look at any speedrunner who can play a musical instrument, they're really good. They're really good because they work so hard.
Right.
Like, the thing with Cipher is he's always hung out with other runners in New York. And one of the things I've always done with speedrunning that I think he would really like to do and should do now that he's going to travel is that you can get a lot out of it beyond just running. Like, there are people all over the country you can go visit, or all over the world you can go visit. And I really hope that on his traveling the world that he hits up people he knows. Like, I'd absolutely love it if he came and stayed with me for a few days or even a week or whatever. And you can do that with speedrunning. And he worked so damn hard on his runs that it's I hope that he sort of reaps the rewards of being in this giant, huge, really good community where he's earned his place. Oh, sorry, I meant to do that. Yeah. He earned his place as one of the really just top hardworking speedrunners. And his reward is he can go pretty much anywhere he wants in Europe and America and find someone willing to put him up. And I hope he does that because I've done it and a bunch of people have done it. And I hope he does it because he really deserves it. The reason I laughed during your thing is because I met him at the AGU 2013 as well. Actually, did I meet him at 2012? You know, I can't remember which one.
So I think you both were at AGDQ 2012. So
right, I must have met him then. I must have met him then. And I spoke with him a lot. And he was talking to me then about how he's never really spoken with people outside America. And he wants to go meet, see that stuff, see the rest of the world and meet other people. And we talked about it a lot. And the reason I chuckled is because at 2013, as soon as you said that, I remember that was the year that Dram invited me to his place. And Drammel said to me just before I was about to go, all right, we're going on a family camping trip. And my initial reaction was like, great, so I can't come. And he's like, no, you're coming with us. So then that was cool, family camping trip. I met Cipher and Flicky and Worm as well, and a few other people in New York just before that. And Cipher came and we were talking to each other and we went to get food and bought a beer and having a chat. And he says, so I hear you're going on this super exclusive camping trip next week. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I didn't get invited. And I looked at Drab like, why didn't you invite Cipher? I was like, oh man, geez, like I didn't think about it. And he's like, no, it's okay. Enjoy your camping trip. I went there. I went over to my friend in Boston and came home again and just got this message from Cipher. How was your super exclusive camping trip? Every time I see him, I think of that. And then the other part, of course, the legendary IHOP Vortex that Cipher was a part of, which another great Cipher story where Funk Doc tried to drive Cipher and a few others back from IHOP, and it was a 10-minute journey. This is AGQ 2012, definitely. I think it was 2012, and they got lost, and they showed up 4 hours later back at the 4-H center, and they somehow got stuck in this vortex of driving around, stopping to ask for directions. Where's the IHOP?
They
We
had
need
no
to get
idea.
back to the IHOP. Then they got sent to a different IHOP.
They went
and just
IHOpping.
kept on this cycle.
It's going to be a new term. You go IHopping.
Yo, I
They-
Yeah.
They stopped, I think, at like 7 or 8 different IHOPs.
Before they
and
got
they
back.
just all they did is take a left at the IHOP instead of a right, and they got lost. And that was the IHOP vortex. They were gone for hours. We were waiting to play Bomberman. There's another thing Cypher's damn good at, picking up any game really quickly, especially Bomberman.
That
He
was
won
that Saturn
8-player
Bomberman?
Saturn Bomberman.
Yeah, like 8-player. Yeah.
8-player. Cypher won consistently. Who wins consistently at 8-player Bomberman?
Nobody. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that's really cool. I mean, I echo everything that you guys have said. I mean, Cipher was one of the first streamers that I really became addicted to. It's like no matter what game he was playing, I felt like I need to be there for it. And even if I'm not a fan of the game, he's got this way of just selling you on the merits of the game and like why he's the best at it, you know? Like Gimmick, I think, is an example of a game where a lot of people would not have known or still don't to this day know what Gimmick is outside of the fact that Cipher sold them on a really good run. And you know, that marathon run they did at HDQ 2015, you know, if that's the way you're going to go out, that's a pretty good way to go out because he had a pretty
was one
sick
of the people
run.
that one of the many people that like raised the bar for marathon runs that showed you can be this good in a marathon, and there's almost no reason to expect not to be.
Yeah.
Like he never expected him to mess up anything. And like when he did, he was like, I do know how hard that is. And most people would say, why did you go for it?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who, you know, I'm one of them. It's like, you know, should I go for the safe strat here? You know, like I'm playing
I
my
haven't even
percentages.
learned the hard strat.
Yeah.
Let's go for the safe one.
Exactly. But no, he was always one to go for the tough ones. So I don't know.
I would
Like you guys said though. I mean, it's just it's a speedrunning community loss, but it's another community's gain, whatever it is. You know, if he's going traveling somewhere.
Yeah. The other part of it is for him is there's, and I'm sure he knows this. When you, like, I took a break from speedrunning to do traveling, and you can get a lot done. There's a lot of day left when you don't speedrun.
Yeah.
I don't mean this in a bad way because I love it, but there's a lot of day left when you stop watching streams. It's a big one, and you stop running, and just say that doesn't mean hopefully that he doesn't leave us. That's the only part.
Yeah.
So you can still
Don't
be
be a
friends
stranger,
with all
right?
of us. Yeah, don't be a stranger, exactly. Like, you know, go be a goddamn amazing whatever the hell it is you're going to be amazing at, because I know whatever it is you'll be good at it. But, you know, still tweet us and say hi, and if you want to hang out at any point, we got spare rooms.
Exactly. There you go. Just go hopping around the world. I'm waiting for that. I want somebody to write the book about how they just went city to city with different speedrunners or something.
I already did it. Do you want me to write the book?
Write the book. Let's do it. I feel like I'd read a Flicky book. There'd be some stories in there. Yeah, you got like 100 stories off the top of your head. You can tell. So
yeah, I'll go for it. We'll
go.
write the speedrunners.
Start writing it
speedrunners
down.
guide to speedrunning the world.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, just thanks Cipher for all the streams, and you know, if you come back, we'll more than willingly welcome you back. So yeah, just a very touching moment. But thanks again. And on that note,
I would just add one thing.
Flicky, you want the
to
last
anyone
word
else
there?
who wants to retire?
Yeah,
you're not gonna all get this treatment.
No.
So if you're feeling a bit low, don't pretend retire.
That's
so
right.
You get a bunch of like positive feedback.
This isn't a segment. I know we talked about that this week.
We've been guilty of doing this. We've definitely, I believe, you know, you go back through the archives. We're like, Worcester retired from Pokemon, and then like 2 days later, he's doing Pokemon. Yeah. It's like, thanks, Worcester.
Hey, maybe it's reverse psychology. Maybe we're gonna get him back in.
Yeah, or reeling him back in. You know, if that's okay, if we bring him back, that's.
You'll take credit for that.
Yeah.
When I left my phone at DreamHack, Adam, T-Dog, or was it Nubist and Shrimp, and probably some others, sent a tweet out saying I'd retired from speedrunning, and that there was a pace bin to follow. And it was a really great fake tweet, but I was admittedly a bit sad at how few people responded.
See, I remember that tweet, and I just was picturing you writing that and laughing about it with people next to you.
That's
So
what I got.
I was in on it,
afterwards.
but yeah, I mean, if I had actually thought it was serious, then yeah. I was like, no, this is Flicky. He's making fun of somebody here. Like somebody else just fake retired, and he's like, ha ha, I'm doing it too.
That's what I got afterwards. But I admit, I looked through the response and I was like, man, 2 favorites and 1 response.
I'll favorite it next time. I'm sorry.
So don't worry about it. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
I don't think I'd do much better. So,
Oh,
yeah.
please, Golden, you're loved. You've got a golden box and everything. Look.
Oh, stop it.
Ah.
I got more love for the GIF in the box right next to me.
Oh, trust me, I've been trying to compete with GIFs on a speedrun podcast for years. You will never win.
You can't. That's very true. That's you can't. I think that's you have to end there. We have to. That's just how it goes.
Yep.
We've been going for a while here. We'll go ahead and wrap it up, but we're gonna be back next Thursday, presumably, if everything goes according to plan and Darkman's not out having too much dinner without us. We'll be back on the 20. That's the 26th. 26th. That's
26th.
Yeah. That's right.
And in the meantime, you guys should not only follow Flicky's stream, but also check out TSSB, right?
The Sunday Sequence Break,
That's right.
or tssbreak.com. It's all there. Go check it out. It's been really, really fun recently.
There you go.
So it's
I had
the
a
other
ton of fun on
speedrunning.
our episode.
The original. You guys got to go with that. The original. No?
I mean, the original doesn't always mean best. We'll let the viewers decide which one is the better podcast.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we want to do that. They got the pitchforks in our chat.
The thing is, there's never been a better time to try the other show because Spike was just on it last
right.
week. So if you like this one,
blending them together.
yeah, we've been real close. The last one had Spike on it, and this one has me on it. So
There you go.
it's a tight knit. It's a group of love.
Well,
By the way, Golden, we're
yes.
going to challenge you guys to a race. You heard about that, right?
I heard vaguely about this. Yeah. what's this?
TSSB versus the final split.
Uh-oh.
We're blind racing something. I don't know how the format's going to be, but we're going to destroy.
As long as it's not Picross 3D.
It won't be. It won't be.
Pick something
It'll
shorter.
be some game.
All right.
We'll pick something.
There we go.
We'll see. All
Sounds good. I'm up for that. Yeah, and you know, we're always open to having you guys back on the show if you want to fill in sometimes. So
Well, just
we love
let
you
us
guys
know.
too. So.
Anytime.
Yeah. All right. Well.
I forgot ESA.
Okay. Get the ESA plug in quick.
Yeah, speedrun.com/ESA 2015. That's the website.
Speedrun.com/ESA 2015.
Yeah, I can't type in the chat.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah. Well.
but go look at that.
All right. We'll have them check that out. Spike, do we have a raid target in mind?
Yeah, I figure, we brought it up on the show tonight. I know we generally do some Mega Mans, but I'm cool doing this one because we haven't actually done this channel yet. Up and coming, Chelney is actually doing Mega Man 4 attempts right now.
There we go.
And he generally, from what we understand, likes a little chiller chat. So don't go and, just give him some good luck, have fun, give him some encouragement, and get in there and check him out. Give him some support.
There you go.
Just go in and chill. Silent raid.
The Silent Raid, bring it back. That's haven't seen that one in a while. All right, well, that's it for our show today. Here, we've run quite a bit into the morning for Flicky. Apologies for that, but
Oh,
It's all right.
you were too much fun. Spike, you want to give the old motto? Here?
Yeah, sure. We just want you guys to remember that your run is not over until you hit the final split.
We'll see you next time.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I didn't know about that.